We're back. And Coach is here. Condors Unleashed at the Dignity Health Studios, live at the Bakersfield, California. And Ryan Holt, Kevin Bartle, and pleased to be joined by Condors head coach Troy Mann. And Coach, we had the week off last week with Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It's excellent. We won 2 games.
There you go.
There you go.
How was the actual Thanksgiving? I mean, did you do anything?
Oh,
did you get to enjoy any food?
Yeah.
I mean, do you celebrate American Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I went over to Willie's house,
Oh.
Great meal over there. It's lovely. Lovely.
So you make him cook instead of you cooking.
Well, he didn't really cook either, but
Yeah.
it was-
Paul Wool to be our guest in our last segment here on Condors Unleashed. He's already here, though, and enjoying Mountain Mike's Pizza, as we all did during the break. But, Coach, I mean, 3 games last week, and it started off on a sour note, but, boy, the Condors turned it around those last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, certainly from a coaching perspective, not too happy Tuesday night. But, in looking at the big picture, we kind of, the week before, after having that good road game in Stockton, putting a couple wins together, we decided as a team to kind of set some weekly goals. And our first weekend was a 2-game set on the road in Ontario. The goal was to get the split, and we went in there and did that. So once the next week came along, we set our goals to get 4 to 6 points and start chipping away at the standings. So, now that we're sitting here this week and looking back, we got 4 to 6 points. And really responded well in San Francisco Wednesday night and then again at home Saturday. So overall, could we have won 6 out of 6? Absolutely, but we'll take the 4 to 6 because we did achieve the goal that we set.
The newspaper ran the article after that Tuesday game and went out of its way to mention a rather intense conversation that you may or may not have had with a couple of the boys, but how much, I don't know how much you want to go into that or anything, but it certainly seems like the message was well received.
Yeah, no, I mean, not only did the team respond Wednesday night in San Francisco, but the captains did too, and that was a captains-only meeting. The basis behind it was, for anybody that doesn't know where the coach's office is, you can hear the visiting locker room's music being played continually. So after an effort like we had seen overall Tuesday night, as a coaching staff, for us to come in and have to listen to the San Francisco blaring the music really irritated me. So the point of it was not only was I pulling the captains in to discuss the effort, I wanted them to listen to these guys, with the music blaring next door. Yes, absolutely. And you're right. It was a kudos to the captains. It was certainly a response from them as well, and the team followed and got the overall message. And crossing our fingers that it continues here.
And you built some good morale as well on Saturday. Huge crowd. The guys must have been some nervous energy going into the game. But how important was it to get that goal out of the way early and then kind of settle in and things started rolling from there?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to talk about something like that because you're always worried that it may never happen. But to see that it went in 33 seconds in or whatever it was really refreshing and relief. But, the guys were certainly prepared, and I don't know if it was because we offered up a 2 days off, reward for getting our 4 points.
Prepared.
And we talked about that in the morning. We had a chance to get our 4 points. And, we really haven't had a lot of time off, if you really look at it, since training camp. So I thought it'd be a good reward with only a 2-game set this week. And really, you only need 3 practices, in my opinion, to actually prepare for a weekend. So it worked out perfectly.
The offense just came to life out of 2 games. I mean, we're talking about a team that has struggled to score goals all season long. To have 11 go in on back-to-back nights, I mean, it's hard not to be encouraged by that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we had some secondary scoring. We moved Shaber to the wing, and I thought he had his best game of the season. I mean, he led our team in scoring chances, with 7 or something crazy in 3-point night. But Thurber certainly come in, and I don't like to judge a player until about the 10-game mark in terms of what they bring to the table overall, because usually when they initially come in, they're trying to impress the organization. And but Thurber's been a pleasant surprise with his skill set. He's added a lot to the power play, especially being a right shot. So he's been so far, and the Watson kid has been good. He's been in on a number of grade A's. He had 2 points in his first night, and he can skate. And those are 2 things that we tried to add here in the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to look to add some skill and some speed, both areas that I think we've lacked or missed in the recruiting process during the summer.
You mentioned Chase Shaber moving to the wing, and maybe for those that are watching that don't know, what are some differences? I know we're going to look at faceoffs here in a little bit, but what are some differences from his mentality, from being a centerman to being on that left wing and not having to do a lot of things that centermen typically have to do?
Well, centermen, they have a tough job. Not only do they have to worry about the face-offs, but they're continually, it's much more of a skating game because you got to play a lot of your time in the D-zone coverage. So, I talked to his coach in the summer, and he thought he might be a real good pro as a winger. And it just hasn't worked out where we had a chance to put him on the wing because we just didn't have a lot of depth at center. But Watson's a natural center. I mean, he can play wing too, but really he is a center. Steffes can play center. Thurber has to play center. And Brodo wants to play center, and he's going to stay at center. So we've got some options. And I just thought, Shabes had been struggling a little bit. I did not totally disappointing with his play, but just felt from an offensive standpoint there was more there that we weren't getting. And for one night, I thought him and Watson and Kessie were dynamite together. Unfortunately, we lost Kessie. But that was a third line, so to speak, if you want to call him a third line, that I wasn't worried about who they were out against. And, when you're in a coaching, when you're a frame mind of always trying to make sure, okay, I need this guy against this guy. That night, they scored the goal. Stockton came back with their first line after the teddy bear toss. And I left Watson's line out there because I wasn't worried about them not being able to do the job against Stockton's so-called number one line.
And we noticed that you kept that line out there. It was almost like the game was starting all over again.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead, boys, go get them.
Yeah, and that was my mentally, that was I was thinking, hey, this game's resetting. I mean, we're only 33 seconds in, so let's start with these guys again. And I thought as a line they were really good that night.
And then with a couple of power plays as well, some of the guys didn't get to hit the ice until midway point of that first period
right.
with all the power plays and the penalties. But Coach, want to take a look at some video here?
Sure.
I think that we have queued up. Want to break down some face-offs, and first off, we're going to start in the D zone.
Yeah, we go D to D to the weak side a lot. This is a really good look for us against Stockton, who's a passive type of team.
That was a nice breakout.
Yeah, so here's another one using your backhand, D to D. I wish he would have maybe held on to that a little longer, but a great chip off the boards, and we're getting, if you can pause that a little bit. But there's a strong side out, and we always talk before the game, are we going passive tonight? Or are we going aggressive in the offensive zone? Okay, in D zone, what are we going to do tonight? Are we going to go to the weak side, which we do a lot? In this case, against Ontario, we do a lot of strong side out, and that means you're pushing the puck to the strong side where you've got a number of players. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I mean, there's 7 of the 10 players on that side of the ice, and you're just trying to create foot races in the neutral zone, and we actually end up getting a 3-on-2 out of this play.
So essentially, for those at home, when you say strong weak side, it's not only where are the most players on the ice, but it's also where the puck is.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the puck's going to be on this side. It's the strong side, and then the weak side here's when you go D to D because there's nobody on this side of the ice, and the puck is going from one side of the ice to the other. And then this, if you roll this clip, it comes out in the neutral zone, and I cut it off, but it eventually actually ended up in a 3-on-2 in our favor because you're trying to create foot races with their 2 players, and we do a good job there. And you can see we got 3 guys on the go there.
Now we go to the neutral zone.
Yeah, we talk a lot about this in terms of getting the puck to the weak side again and D to D climb. You can see here, I want the D to, and this is not a great one because the opening was there and we didn't use it, and then we turned the puck over. This is much better. This is the same game. We bring this forechecker in, we climb the dots, we go weak side, we bring our winger nice and low over there, and it works. You just got to execute it here. And here's another one, D to D. This is a set play. We want a rim. We want one guy above the rim, one guy below. We end up with the puck. We go low to high, and we're in business in offensive zone.
Now, not often that cross-ice pass is open in the neutral zone like that.
Yeah,
I mean, 2 plays ago when you showed it and you talked about bringing the winger in, that pass isn't always there.
No, and it all depends on who you're playing. Like Stockton likes to cut the ice in half, and this is all something we talk about in pre-scouts. Right there, the guys know before the game that Stockton cuts the ice in half. That side of the ice is open against them, so let's use it where we might play a different team. Let's say Vegas this weekend. They may push 2 guys in the neutral zone where we might not be able to do that play where we're just going to push the puck off quick ups or just move the puck right right up right away. We're there. That is just a system thing that we dictate before we go into playing a team like Stockton.
Now we're going to get into my favorite zone, the offensive zone. That's where I get my goals.
Well, here, this is not well executed. If you want to pause that right there, we want our D in this guy's face here. We talked to the D this morning about this particular. It's 5-3. It's still only second period. We want to push the pace, so we're pushing our wingers off that face-off, and I want that weak side D in this guy's face saving this puck. So not really well executed on our part. But overall, that would be the look there in terms of trying to save that puck when it comes around off the rim. I mean, our wingers did a great job off that face-off, forcing the rim. Now we want to save that puck and play. And as I tell the players, playing in the offensive zone is fun. That's where we want to play the game. So why not save that puck so we play there? Now we're defending in the neutral zone or D zone, and we don't want to play in those areas of the ice. Another one here, pretty good job by Broder. Now this is where we called it off. We went passive. Knacker goes over there. The puck is in the neutral zone, which is okay. If he wants to go back to that and just maybe rewind that, we can talk about this last face-off play. Just a little. I guess we don't have that drill.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So Knacker now from the bench we could call it off. We talk about passive and aggressive all the time, but if we go back to that here, this is not a great. If we go back to the actual face-off there, I want our wingers. Switching off the draw here as well as we go to the next one.
We're getting
pause it right here. So if he pauses that right there and go back to right at the face-off, we want our wingers to change, because if you look here, to me, these are penalties, and this is what I talked to the guys about. I want our wingers to switch, so the left shot is here, and off this win, he can spin into this guy with his stick this way to help on the win. And if you're not on if you're on your forehands, your first initiative off the draw is your stick lifts up. And it goes here, his stick goes up here, and really they're interference calls. And now they don't call it in this league, but really that's why I like these wingers to switch. So this is not really, even though we win it, it's just a little detail of our game where I prefer these guys to switch where they can not have their sticks up the ice in terms of penalty mode. And that's why here, and if he rolls this clip right here, watch their sticks. Automatic, to me, that's a penalty. And the other one's a penalty as well because his stick is, across the body.
Let's not send that clip into the league and show them what we're doing off the thing.
Yeah.
But if you're a season ticket holder and want to talk with Coach, all the coaches will actually be before the game, 5:45 in the bank room. Season ticket holders only. It's one of the perks of being a season ticket holder.
This
Exclusive
Saturday.
Chalk Talk this Saturday with the Condors coaching staff. Coach, we got to let you go.
Hey.
But another great
pleasure, boys.
episode of Coach's Corner here on Condors Unleashed.
I love it. I mean, the little things like this when you're watching. Now, the next time the fans are at the game and they're watching those wingers. They're watching how they do. They're watching the D-to-D and up the weak side and out. I like it.
So when Knacker's lined up in the wrong spot, we'll know who to
We
play.
know.
Now we know.
We know.
And then you guys can talk about it on radio. Say Knacker is actually lined up
in the wrong side.
Exactly.
He should be on the other side. Coach
you
told
go.
me so. We will be joined by Jordan Knackstead, though, in our next segment. Coach's Corner in the books. When we come back, Jordan Knackstead right here. Condors Unleashed from the Dignity Health Studios of the Bakersfield, California. Also on Fox Sports Radio 97.